saying goodbye.
Are we closing shop?
Last week in the office.
This is actually so sad.
Shop? We're just getting started, man. You know that.
We're opening up a new shop.
We're going to Canada. You know? When I was younger, I really would have blown a gasket walking into a room like this. Look at me. Take a look. Brand new helmets, brand new cleats, PLL swag, original fan swag from 2019. I mean, this is just like sitting here. Hand-painted cleats, long pole. You know, we have championship net. It's just all pretty exciting stuff. And every room is full of this type of stuff right now. Okay. And this is the saddest part about moving offices.
A podcast studio.
Yeah, we put in a lot of work to make this podcast studio really great. So now we just got to make sure we take the sound panels. And this week's YouTube channel is a little bit different. We're going to highlight Suiting Up podcasts. So if you follow me on Instagram or Twitter, or even caught an episode a number of weeks ago here on this channel, I actually don't need this, you would have found out that we relaunched Suiting Up Podcast. It's a show that I started in 2017. We're rolling out season 3. And instead of doing an episode for each guest on the YouTube channel, what we decided to do is if there's 12 total podcasts, we would do 3 different episodes covering 4 guests for each episode. So we're going to cover our first 4 Suiting Up Podcast guests today. Mark Cuban, Sue Bird, Tony Hawk, and Tom Rothman.
That's a squad and a half.
It's a squad, man. They could match up against anyone.
It sounds like the dream team in the Olympics.
1992. This episode is brought to you by Skillshare. We'll tell you why when we talk about Tom Rothman, because there's a course on Skillshare that covers the art of storytelling by our friend Soledad O'Brien, who is really great, and her son plays lacrosse. All right, so we're going to start with Mark Cuban, and we're going to take one part from each of their episodes to highlight right now. So the one thing that I chose from Mark Cuban's podcast was really interesting. He was building audio businesses out of school. He went to Indiana and he launched one of the first internet companies called broadcast.com, and he sold it for a lot of money, and he used some of that money to do 2 things. He bought a Gulfstream jet, still the largest e-commerce purchase of all time, and he uses that jet to fly to games for the Dallas Mavericks, and that was the second thing he used his money on. He bought the Dallas Mavericks in 2000 for $285 million. Now they're worth $2.5 billion. But we dug in on why he bought the team. He is so passionate about basketball. He loves it. It's his favorite sport growing up, much like lacrosse is to us. When you get to do something work-related about what your passion is, sometimes you approach it differently.
I love basketball, just like you love lacrosse.
Yeah.
I've been a basketball junkie my entire life, and to me, half the fun is being able to go out on the NBA court at the American Airlines Center and just get up shots, before every home game, or if the court's set up, just going down there and shooting all I want, or going to the practice facility and shooting with the guys. I mean, that's like being a big kid, and the value there is you can't put an amount on that.
Our second episode was with Sue Bird, and she is an 18-time champion. We published the podcast after Tom Brady won his 7th Super Bowl. Sue Bird has won 4 WNBA titles, and she won the 2021 with the Seattle Storm, but she's won 18 overall from UConn, WNBA. She's played over in Russia, and she's won with Team USA a bunch. And I asked her about tips around responding to either being nervous or not playing well. And she spends a lot of time on the mindfulness of sports, so meditating and sports psychology. But one thing she said is she always reminds herself about the law of averages. And if she looks back on her career, she's about 40% from the 3-point arc. So when she plays some games and she starts 0 for 4 or even 0 for 6, she reminds herself that at some point it will get back to 40%, so she keeps shooting. It was good advice. Here's the clip.
Just like anyone can get down on myself in a game and have a terrible stretch, maybe even finish the game in a bad way because like my head just never got back in. But I just really, at this point, put a lot of trust in almost like the law of averages. I'm like, listen, you've been shooting this basketball for, I couldn't even tell you how many years. And you've always been, this is me talking to myself, like you've always been like, I don't know, 30, 40, like high 30s, low 40s, like for 3-point shooting. That's who you are. And so I just kind of put some trust in knowing this is who I am.
Now, episode 3 was with Tony Hawk. He is the legend, a global icon, video game, known for his 900, helped build the X Games, skateboard emoji, getting skated in the Olympics. all the stuff we want to do for lacrosse. But I asked him about the 900, and he was like, I wasn't expecting, nor was I planning on even doing it back in 1999. I was like, what? How were you not planning to do that? We talked a little bit about the dunk competition and how it relates to it, but the dialogue ended up going more towards resilience when faced with failure.
After about my 5th attempt, I was like, maybe I could actually do this because I'm finally seeing the landing. And that's when I started. You can see, you watch the video, you can see it around my 6th or 7th attempt where I was like, I'm going to put this on the wall. And I'm either going to make it or I'm going to be taken away in an ambulance. Like, those were the only choices. There was no walking away and giving up.
Now, our 4th guest in episode 4 of Suiting Up was Tom Rothman. For those of you that don't know Tom, he's a lacrosse guy. He grew up in Baltimore, went to Homewood Field to watch the Jays play, and then he went to Brown and played lacrosse at Brown. Was a really talented attackman who scored a lot of goals. Tom is now the chairman of Sony Motion Picture Group. There have been 400 films that this guy has done, and it was pretty cool to sit down with him and have him tell us about the art of storytelling through his career.
So what we need to do is, and this is a highly technical movie term I'm going to give you. And I learned it from Beyonce, who gave this advice to some young people. They asked her what they should do to be successful. And she said, you should make dope shit.
Now, before we wrap, I'm going to quickly talk about Skillshare, who is the sponsor of this video. Skillshare.com, it's where we got our PLL education and how we've built this whole thing in the first place. They have been a partner of our YouTube channel for now a while. And today's promo is going to be for Soledad O'Brien's course. Her class is called Powerful Storytelling Today, How to Craft Great Content. So I want you to check that out. It's something that we watch and how we build our programming, not just around the league and the teams, but the players. So all you young entrepreneurs from Rabil Overnight, tap into this. Tap on the link in the description and become one of the first 1,000 people to get a free Skillshare membership from me. And if you're not one of those first 1,000 people, you can still get it for $10 a month, which is really cheap considering that a college course on average costs $7,000. Did you know that?
Yes.
You did. Because
Economics.
you went to school.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to go to school, but you can also go to school on Skillshare.com. All right. Who's going to take these mics off? The movers?
Probably me.
Wait, we're recording tomorrow, though.
Yeah. The movers aren't coming until Saturday.
Do you know who we're recording with tomorrow? Steph Curry.